And those illusions, they're lies and just illusions.
Hello, people. Good evening and welcome to the Powder Room. First of all, we are so sorry. The technical issues that we experienced were out of this world. And what a week. What a week. That's basically all I can say. It's been quite a hectic one, but gladly and finally we are here. For those of you who, kept vigil and kept buzzing us to ask what was happening, we thank you very, very much. We're just glad that now we can get on with the business of the day. So what's Powder Room? Powder Room, where the realest talk happens. It's a private space in a public place where you can let down your hair, have honest conversation, gain on common sense, and put your face back together again to face the world with tact, truth, and tenacity. We're made up of 5 friends. I'm not the only one here. And so we're just going to be doing a rough introduction so you get to meet the rest of the crew. Ruth, the prof. Hello. You're muted.
Hi, everyone. So sorry about, all the delays. We're glad we're here, and thank you for waiting. I would like to just introduce Casey, the realist. Please say hello.
Hey people, good evening. We're so sorry. It's good we're finally here.
Casey is not sorry. Let me just tell you guys, she's not sorry. She didn't contribute when we were fixing it. Nothing. She just kept quiet. Now she's sorry.
I was praying. Somebody has to pray. Oh, somebody has to bind the devil in an Indaboski way. And please hold this glitch, affecting us here. Are you there, Ada? Please, where are you?
In fact, I'm laughing.
No, it's not funny.
But anyway, hi guys. We're really sorry. It was such a mess. I told you guys to relocate. You guys refused. To go live. You guys refused. Anyway, hi guys. We hope you guys would have a good show. Thank you for understanding. These things just happen sometimes. Where's C, the strategist? Chi, are you there?
I'm here. Today I decided to stay in my corner office. That's when the internet decided to misbehave. But it's okay. We cannot sue the internet. But it's good to be here, everyone. Thanks for waiting. I can see some people on YouTube watching already.
So, see, thank you so much for being the technical support person. I'm just so disappointed in some of us. I don't even know what to say. So thank you so much for that. Okay, so today, this is our part 2 of the series we started last week. Last week, we were Do Nice Girls Get the Corner Office? That was part 1, and this is part 2. And this part is just basically questions and answers. So what we did was we picked up a few questions from the chat room on YouTube last week, and then we've gotten some over the course of the week, and we'll take as much as time permits. And to jump into it, I think I will direct, so please, if I direct it at you, just, share your heart. And if you do have questions, do type them in as well. And if we do have time, we'll take them in today's session. So the first question, and I think I'll give it to Ruth, it says, truth be told, nice girls do not play office politics. And most times, this is needed to push upwards. So first of all, what is office politics? And secondly, why is office politics needed to push upwards?
Okay. Sorry. Office politics. Office politics, as the word says, when you hear politics, the first thing that comes to mind is power. And then if that struggle happens in the office, then it's office politics. So it's basically like the struggle for power and advantage. But, let's go textbook style where and look into the dictionary where it says office politics means the activities, the attitudes, the behaviors that are used to get or keep power, as I said earlier, or an advantage within a business or a company. So that's what the dictionary defines office politics as. So no matter how much we try to avoid it, the person is talking about nice girls not playing politics. But the problem is that no matter how much we try to avoid it, politics will always rise because man, as they say, is a political animal. Permit the word. So what makes us political is that there's this fundamental desire just to have control, to be the best, to be up there, to have it all. We can't help it. That's human nature, to strive for power, to pursue power. So the thing that brings in office politics is that people tend to go through to any extent to get that power for themselves, to rise in organization. To them, the end justifies the means. So they can do anything to get at the top. They don't care if it's right or wrong. Some people don't care. Some people, they don't care if it's ethical or unethical, fair or unfair. They can do anything to get power. And that's what makes office politics sound like it's a bad thing. And that's what makes people avoid it. So like mainstream politics, people just say it's dirty, it's manipulative, it's evil. So you see people angry, frustrated, and betrayed, when they are passed off, when it looks like, things are not working to their favor or they're not promoted at work, and then people who are less qualified or people who are not quite up there or less hardworking, then when they see them rise, they can get upset about it. And that's just why people think it's dirty. So that's how life is. It's happening in the workplace, no matter how fair or unfair we think it is, it's happening, and avoiding it won't make it go away. So if you avoid it, it can be a serious career mistake. It doesn't go away by just hiding in the sand. There. It's there. So it's not something to avoid. It's something to face. You have to be politically intelligent or politically savvy, as they say. So, we would explain what political savviness means as we get ahead.
Okay. Thank you so much. Casey, you're doing the...
Casey, you have something to say. You're nodding.
I loved the word being politically savvy. Being politically intelligent. I know we've used the intelligence suffix to many words, hearing it side by side with being political sounded very interesting. And what you were just spot on. You were spot on. Great.
Thank you very much. Okay, so it's very rare for Casey to say great, so great. I thought she was actually going to come and shoot you about, So anyhow, another question, and I think I'll give this one to Chinwe. So Chinwe, someone is asking, how do you bring value to your company, kill it, and still, especially when you are not willing to overshadow other people? You don't want it to seem like you are the over-savvy, good girl, but you're just doing it, not for that. You're doing it because you're all about the job. You love what you're doing. You like to, be better than what you did last, but then you still don't want to make people feel some type of way. Is that even possible? And how do we maneuver that?
Karachi, honestly, I've thought about that. People have asked me that question before. I've experienced it before, and it's a tough one where you seem to be the shining star, you're getting all the accolades, and then people are beefing you. So you want to do stakeholder management. You manage the bosses, and you also manage your peers, even your direct reports or your line managers, in a way that it doesn't look like you're being arrogant. So what can someone do in that kind of situation? The tendency is to try to be someone you're not, try to be a people pleaser, be nice to everyone, even when you're going out of your way, you know. And if you continue doing that because you want everybody to be happy with you, you lose yourself. So if you know that at a meeting you have some very strong points to make, and then you know you don't want to keep talking at the meeting because you know you make the strong points, you get the accolades, and in the end other people might look like they don't know what's up, or they're not, you know, smart enough, and so you restrain yourself. If you keep restraining yourself, you will either implode or explode. So you have to remain your authentic self. At the same time, learn stakeholder management. So, for example, if someone sends you a commendation email, a boss sends you a commendation email, and you realize that that work you're being commended for, you did it in a team, you would accept the commendation and then share the commendation. You know, oh yes, I did it with, oh yeah, thank you, sir, for that. I actually worked with A, B, and C, and you know, thank you guys for your input. You know, something like that. And how to manage it depends on what level you're on, because there's a way you do it. Then they say, oh, this one is insecure, she's not self-aware, she does not accept commendation. And I've gotten that kind of feedback before, where in trying to be humble and in trying to share the praise, you're seen to be rejecting the praise. So it's on a case-by-case basis. You check your motive at every point in time. What's my motive? Am I trying to demean myself in order to put other people up? Or am I trying to really accept the compliment, accept that I'm a shining star, and also bring other people to the limelight as well? So it's about making sure you remain authentic. You're managing the stakeholders. It's about the conversations you have with people. It's about the way you speak to people when you're talking to them. It's about the kind of words used in emails. It's also about carrying people along, because there's a tendency to be given all the top line information and all the top line work, and then your colleagues are ignored. How do you bring them into that so they don't feel that you're blocking them? It's a combination of skills. I don't know if I've helped anybody, but you just need to make sure that in doing whatever stakeholder management you want to do, you're not demeaning yourself to look cheap and look like someone that doesn't deserve the accolades. Because if you do that, you actually will stop getting those accolades. But at the same time, you now manage your colleagues. But in the end, there are some people that are just jealous. There's nothing much you can do. Don't feel bad if after you have done all you can to manage people, some people just hate you or are being hostile. At that time, you just remember the workplace is a war zone. I will try not to make the humans my enemies, but if I can't help it, I move on.
Sure, I'm gonna come back to you, even right now, because I'm asking for a friend, not me, you know.
It can be.
You know, you said watch how you word your emails. Could you give us an example? How can you word your emails in such a way that it sends the wrong message? Or...
Okay, so let me give two instances quickly. So there's work to be done. My boss sends me, and maybe the MD sends me an email to do some work, right? I have a line manager. I also have direct reports. Ideally, maybe the MD or the CEO is my second line manager, and usually work should come from a direct line manager. In acknowledging the work, I copy my boss to acknowledge the work and let my boss know that, oh, this person sent to me. I will assume that the person already knew that his or her line manager told me to do that. I've managed my line manager. Now, maybe the boss sends me something, and
very smart.
I'm literally clapping. Like I'm clapping.
Okay, my direct boss sends me an email about something I know another person's already working on. Perhaps because of timing, my boss now wants me to handle it. But I know this other person has maybe taken 3-4 days to handle it. In doing that, I'm not going to copy that person to make my boss feel silly. But in responding, I will say, oh yes, I remember that this person told me he or she was working on it. This is my input. Do you want me to work with this person as well? Or then I know how to manage that person. And in the end, when the person hears that my boss said I should do it, the person is not going to feel like, oh, Chinwe took it as a shining star and then made me look stupid. It's not easy, because sometimes when there's something is urgent, you might not remember all these things, but God usually will help us.
Strategy.
Share a scenario.
Yes,
please. Scenario, guys.
Yeah.
I wanted to share a scenario. You know, Chinwe said something very intelligent, and that was that many times these things happen on a case-by-case basis, yeah? You know, the example she gave about managing a line manager, very apt. I've done that before and it backfired, okay? So you have someone, not directly your line manager, your line manager's manager seem to like your style of work, or just, you know, there was just a common ground. And then he reaches out to you on your task, right? To say that these are the expectations for this role. You're intelligent, I see you're a go-getter, I want you to go headlong, I want you to smash this. And then he lets you in to certain tricks, will I call it tricks of the trade, or some unspoken KPIs that you didn't know about. This I'm sharing real life right now, that you didn't know about. And then out of trying to do what you just said, I came heartily, you know, jumping like a little girl, you know, who has just heard that she's doing amazingly well. And I showed my line manager some of the discussions we've just had. And look at what this person has said, look at what he said, look at what he said. My God. It was as if all hell was let loose. He screamed. He went gaga. He blew the lead. You know, I was shocked. I was confused. I didn't know what exactly the issue was. He went off, you know, he was like, you're snitching behind me. This is snitching behind my back. How did you even get this audience? How did you? Forgive me, but that was exactly, you know, when you have too many words per millisecond, I was dazed. I sat down there. Forgive me, I always say the spirit being that I am. As I sat down there and I bent my head, I said, sweet spirit of the living God, all the skills have ended now. What do I do? And you know, he didn't stop there. As he was screaming, and he started calling other team members. Can you imagine? Can you imagine this? Can you? So I was confused. I was embarrassed. I was, you know, I was looking for the next available seats, you know, to sit on. True life story. I eventually sit, I bend my head, and, you know, different voices over my head. One even boldly asked me, please open the note, what was shared with you. You know, and as I sat there, I said, sweet Holy Spirit, what do I do? The only thing I heard was silence. So I decided to follow the silence. I was just silent, not saying a word. A superior comes in, and I guess by eye sign, everybody just, you know, disappears. It was almost closing hours. And I left, you know. Normally I would hang around. I'm a bit of a socialite, so I know how to do all of those end of work gig that helps people when it comes to office politics. But on this particular day, I couldn't do it. I just picked my bag and I practically crept out of the multi-story building where our office was. And as I went on, there was a lot of turmoil in my heart. Who do I speak to? What do I do? What is the next action? This, that, you know? But if there was anything that came in at that time, it wasn't all the English I knew to speak. It wasn't all the stakeholder management I knew to do. It wasn't all the being able to meander and speak the different languages I can. It wasn't popping into somebody's office and quickly sharing with the person to share one secret to apply. It was just the peace of God. I slept, you know, with that peace. And early hours of the morning, I got an express instruction of what the battle was for. I came into the office that morning, lo and behold, the silence had disarmed my boss. It disarmed him. Because immediately I came in very early. He was like, oh, Mrs. Mba, I've been waiting for you. I've been wanting to, I wanted to talk with you. Yesterday you were so silent. You didn't say a word. I felt very bad. I'm sharing this because I believe it may just help someone. I felt very bad and all of that. And he began to explain a lot of things. He explained and explained and explained and explained. And when he was done, I don't know where the maturity came from. I simply told him, can I just share something with you? And I began to share exactly what we're sharing on this episode about playing office politics, I told him, I've seen how you work. It's so straightjacketed. You're so, about the merits and all of that. I don't see you losing up. I don't see you do this. I don't see you do that. In between, he really wasn't interested in the advice because I shouldn't be giving it. I tried very much to say, sir, please, can I say something and all of that. In between it, he said, what was it they even said you were? Because it was obvious my mediation skills had to come to play. My peace, because natural me, I'm not sure. And then aside that too, it was obvious that God came into the situation. So I just wanted to chip in that there are many times where many of the things you also know to do may just fail you. There's a superior authority you can quickly lean on. There were so many assumptions really. The primary one was, oh, you went to the boss, and then I was in the middle of a crossfire between two people. So that always comes up too, right? There's the time where they will just put you in between. And just like the scenario I just painted, you don't know where to turn to, but peace, silence just helped me wade through that whirl. And by the next day, it also brings me to another thing, time. Time also has a way of downplaying rage. And many times when things are so steaming hot, and you just apply the principle of time, the principle of silence. Of course, not the silence of, I don't care what it is you're going to do, but the silence of, you're distraught. It aroused empathy. It aroused a lot of respect. In fact, my jolly good days followed afterwards. There was nothing else he wanted to do. He wasn't going to call me. And then I didn't report him to the other. So it wasn't as if anything went wrong on the other end. On that other end too, that one didn't know what I had to go through. I took it all. The peace of God carried me through. The wisdom of God carried me through. I also believe the mediation skills I had learned, in being able to know when to apply peace also came through. So I just felt, Chinwe's explanation gave room for me to explain that there are times when you can be in the middle of a crossfire.
True talk.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something. So just because you brought up the issue of time, I also wanted to add something about seasons. You see, our career growth is not a sprint. It's a journey. It's a marathon. Especially when you are in it for the long haul. And when you are in it for the long haul, it helps you decide the decisions. It affects the quality of the decisions you make now. A wise person said that we must mind in the end the things that matter in the beginning. LinkedIn is powerful. You see, like moving here to Canada, I found out that you think we do man no man in Nigeria. This is the kingdom of where your personal network carries you. People here will employ you based on who referred you. And so the story about who you are should be consistent. So in making decisions, because sometimes you might be I think we're supposed to talk about the toxic environment. You might be in a toxic environment and there's no remedy. And so you must take a walk and go, count your losses and go, because not everyone might be able to thrive. And of course, if it's affecting your mental health and all that, you need to know when to pull the plug and just be looking out for another job while you're holding on, pending when something else clicks. But what I'm trying to say is you have to know what season you are in your career. If you're still at entry level, at entry level in your career, the need to be seen, because the question I think Karachi was asking, what the person was asking was, how do I know why, if people are taking credit for work I do, how do I let them know that I took part in doing the work? I will answer it this way. If you're still early in your career, like I'm a lawyer, I know that in law firms, you have to do a lot of work and your seniors pick up your work and move to court and go. At that point, the aim shouldn't be visibility per se. But you see, as long as you're doing something, that is, if you're doing good work, people in your team have recognized that you know what you're doing. It's always a matter of time. Joseph was in the prison interpreting dreams until the days one day somebody went and spoke for him, because that's what he had consistently done. So at that point in your career, you might not need to say too much. But if you're at mid-level, Chinwe gave an example last week, and that's where I'll stop. Chinwe was saying that maybe your boss is giving a presentation that you did. There might be an opportunity for you to say, and they might ask any other comment. You might be like, yes, when we were working on the, you see, that inclusive word, we, now is like, okay, I thought you were trying to say you did the job, but you just let everybody know that, oh, this was an all-encompassing effort, So we need to be very smart, like Igbo people always say, Nka, it's wisdom that an elder uses to chase a cow. Those malus that don't want to, you have to be smart in trying to put them into line. So that's just my own 2 cents.
Okay, thank you so much, Ada. You know what I saw in my head when you were saying, I can imagine being in a meeting and then I'll just say, when we were working on that presentation, you know how you'll be eyed from the side? Because you've just thrown a spanner in the works, exactly. But let's leave that for another day. That's just, I've just heard so much already. And I'm glad you've jumped into it. And Casey, go nowhere, realist, because I'm going to flip the question on you now. You were talking about not all scenarios work that way. Not all scenarios are, where you have to, what do you call it, to speak up and, be strategic in my
the skills,
Yeah, so somebody else asked a different question. It said, when a woman is being assertive, it oftentimes is misinterpreted as being confrontational. So in this case, last case, you were quiet. But then when a woman, the time now not to be quiet, the time to speak up, you can be misinterpreted as being confrontational. Why is this so? And is there any middle line?
For me, the lines went blurry ever since. There's nothing like male or female in the workplace. So I don't even like to join that bandwagon where we say, when a man is bold, we call it confidence. When a woman is bold, we call it one thing. There's this analogy that shows that. I don't like to go, down that lane, right? Assertion is assertion, wherever it's coming from. I belong to the school of thought. Remember last week when we had this, and that was the girly girl that was talking about bringing in your femininity into the workplace. In that area, outside empathy, I would maybe score I don't know, it's 0. I really don't suffer gladly, right? I'm confident, I'm on the job, right? You don't bring gender to play. I don't also play the gender game. I don't believe be nice to me because I'm a woman, right? Yeah. I don't believe change the standards. If the pass mark is 150, make it 100 because of the fact that I'm a woman. I don't do that. Okay, so, and I also think a lot of women are also beginning to focus a lot on that. It's a distraction. It's said, but it's not every stone that is hurled at you that you will pay attention to. If you keep paying attention to every stone hurled at you, you may never get to where you're going to, right? So if a man does it, it's one thing. If a woman does it, is that, don't like, those things, it doesn't make sense. If you're assertive, be assertive. The dictionary would not explain the definition of assertiveness in a male context or in a female context. Assertion is assertion. Do it right. Don't be bitchy about it. When you need to speak up, speak up. In the scenario I had explained, speaking up would just be like simple wisdom had it that it would just be like pouring fuel. It had nothing to do with whether I was a man or a woman. If I was a man, that was exactly the same thing I would do. I would, because I also wanted to feel the pulse of the person talking to me. I also empathized with him. I knew there was something beyond, what I had shown him. And of course, my silence was able to make him open up to me. And so when, quote and unquote, is like someone over you is seemingly crying on your shoulders, that's power, man. That's power. Yeah. And I didn't get it by shining eye. I got it by just being silent. And he was forced to explain when maybe I really didn't need, deserve, or even demand an explanation.
Wow. I want to say something about what you said. It's you're talking about being sensitive to the person. So in the office, in the workplace, when you're working with people, we need to be sensitive. Care does not have a gender. The object of your care or the object of your politeness doesn't have a gender. You should be polite to everybody. You should be able to speak to everybody, professionally. And I wanted to say something about political savviness. To be politically savvy has to do with perception, comprehension, shrewdness in practical matters. So you should be able to perceive things. You should be able to understand things and then act accordingly. So sometimes people just act without, first of all, getting, in some information. Before you don't react, really, because that's what happens. When you react from from that first impulse. But when you are someone who responds, you first of all take in information and then understand it, comprehend it before responding to people. So when you talk about assertiveness, sometimes people are outright rude and they call it assertiveness. That's not, you don't need to mix things. Exactly. Assertiveness is to just speak up. It's to speak up, is to step up and speak your mind. And when you really, really care about the people you're working with, when you are really, really a polite, understanding, reasonable person, you will function well. But usually it comes out of some issues that you have not resolved, and when you don't resolve them, it will affect you. Savviness, political savviness is a skill. I usually tell people there are some things that are taught, but there are some things that are caught. You can't really write it down. There are just some things that is just about, perception. It's just about your ability to perceive things in the right way. You can learn political savviness, but it's something you need to practice. It's something you need to, put in your whole mind and your whole consciousness in. And it's something that every woman or man in the office, so it's everybody that needs to learn it. There are skills that you need to pick up, and we need to be skillful in the office, skillful in communicating, skillful in responding, skillful in dealing with people. Relational skills are very key in these matters.
Thank you so much, Ruth. Okay, all right. I was just looking through and seeing so many amazing people who are joining us tonight. Thank you guys. It was quite a bit tricky when we started, but it was really good to see you. So hello, Ibinabo, Amaka Itwen, so good to see you. Chaka Nosike, Amaka Donald Ibe, Pastor Rachel, and Shola, it's good to see every one of you. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight in the powder room. Okay, so I'm just going to beg us to, let's be brief with our points because we still have 2 more questions. I'm hoping we can get it out before our time rounds up tonight. The next one is talking about toxic environments. I'm going to go through everyone. You're just going to share like 2 or 3 things that makes you believe that an office environment is actually toxic. The person needs to plan to leave that environment. So what makes an office environment toxic? I think I would like to start with maybe Chinwe, then I'll go to KC and then go from there. C.
Okay, toxic environment. So generally, I'll just say that some places, some organizations are toxic, generally toxic. Every office you enter, whether it's a corner office or a middle office, toxic. Some environments are generally not toxic, but a team or a unit might be toxic. Okay, how do you know? When you cannot communicate freely and you have to second guess yourself every time, you start working on eggshells because you say something, then someone says you said it this way you meant, you know, or you have always been accused of playing politics. Like Casey's example, that guy is a toxic person. Her office might not be a toxic environment, but by being toxic, he has probably made the team a toxic environment. So now working with him, she has to check, what can I say? What do I do? What do I not do? That's a toxic environment. Another sign of a toxic environment is poor leadership. So when the leaders or the managers or the organs at the top, they see something going wrong, they see that there's a bully in the office, they see there's a rude person or someone who doesn't allow other people to thrive, and they do nothing about it. They sit on the fence. They just focus on the numbers, just focus on tasks. That's a toxic environment where all the leaders care about is your output on the job and they don't care how you feel or how people treat you. That's toxic. Just those two.
Thank you. Thank you. I think I'll go to Casey.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kara. Thanks so much. See, I would say that one of the characteristics of a toxic environment is an environment that lacks mutual respect. And by mutual respect, I mean across all tiers. I read up a beautiful story some time ago about a cleaner at NASA, who engaged someone, engaged the cleaner in a conversation and said, trying to belittle what the cleaner does, as in, you're just a cleaner here. And the cleaner boldly spoke up to say that beyond cleaning this place, what I am doing is to enable everyone going into space have a conducive environment from which they can take off from. I mean, that's the kind of organization I would want to run. An organization where a cleaner is so respected that the cleaner is purposeful, right? Many times in workplaces, people are not purposeful because they are not respected. Respect is not mutual. You come, it's a gang thing. It's obvious who the leaders are. I remember in one of the places I worked, yes, this is 15 years and counting of my career life. I remember one of the places I worked, in less than 2 weeks. Oh, sorry, Kara, I've started explaining, right? I should have just stopped with mutual respect, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay, so let me stop there, but I just wanted to nail it, but let me stop there.
Yes, you can nail it inside the powder room, not afterwards. Okay, thank you so much, Casey. Wow.
Thank you. Mutual respect.
Mutual respect. Thank you. Ada, what's your take?
Well, I want to see a toxic environment from an overt and a covert perspective. So some things are overt, it's on the surface. Some of the things that C and Casey were explaining are very overt. But there's also it's visible to everybody that, this environment is But I think one of the pointers is still what the philosopher said, man, know thyself. Every one of us have a threshold of what we can endure. Deep down inside you, if you are experiencing burnout and stress, and lack of creativity. The last time we talked, I was saying that you spend most of your life in your office. So if you're in a place that is not working out, it's not like, personally, I spend my personal money to touch up my office space everywhere I work, because that's where I am. I can't be in drab office. Sometimes I even have to go as much as changing my seat. I'm paying for it myself because I spend all of my time there. It helps me, think, and it keeps me comfortable. So deep down inside you, if you're going to work and, work has become routine, there's nothing challenging you anymore. You're just there And once you get into the teamwork, you can become a clerk. They can declare your position redundant in a little while, because what you're being paid for is your ability to think on the spot and keep reinventing what you're doing. So if those things are absent, constant, couple with the fact that you wake up every morning, there's no enthusiasm, no zeal to go to work, you're already, that's toxic. It's not an external factor. I'm talking about things that, inward, internal issues that, are now becoming an issue, are now making your work environment toxic. I think when you start noticing some of those signs, you should just know that it's time to, take a leave, take a walk. Like they say in Igbo, use your tongue and count your teeth. Just running around your mouth and just advise yourself that it's time to go, Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I like that. It's important. It almost begins to feel like you're in a high maintenance relationship where you have feelings of panic and fear.
Yes,
on it. Exactly. You can't say why you're reacting or you're feeling that way, So thank you so much, Ada. Ruth,
to break
wow.
And life is too short to live that way. I would say life is too short to live that way. So please live your best life wherever you are. Whenever you're stifled, whenever you're struggling, something is wrong. One thing, when we brought up this word toxic, I just remember toxic waste and what toxic oil spills and all those things do to the environment.
Damages.
If you see how, it kills animals, it prevents, things from growing. That's just a picture in my mind. When you're somewhere where you can't grow, you're not growing, it's not giving you opportunity to grow. See, if you're not growing, you're dying. One of the signs of living things is growth. Growth, you have to grow. That's why we shed skin. That's why we shed hair. So in our bodies, things have to you have to keep growing and improving and expanding and getting better. If you're not, you are dying. You might be earning money, everything might look, people might not be shouting at you every day, it might not be that, obvious, like Ada said, it might not be overt, but there's just something about you dying. You can't be creative, you can't be innovative, you can't even develop yourself. You don't even have time to take a course or, apply new knowledge, learn. There's a problem. And that is a toxic, very toxic environment. One other sign of a toxic environment is where everybody expects you to be just like everybody, uniformity, where diversity, and differences are not really embraced. We can't see, everybody can be the same. And if people expect you to be uniform, you could have this way, talk this way, stand this way, you will be stifled. There's just something about you that will not just be able to pop. And people are enduring these things in many workplaces, and it's really, really bad to watch. It's really bad to see. It's something that, let me just say it how we say, it pains me. It pains me seriously when I see such things. And, it's something that needs to change, something that needs to, so avoid such environments. There are still a lot of other signs, but we can't, we might not be able to take them all.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm looking at the comments online. I'm seeing, just to read a few of them. Amaka Itwen said, assertiveness is not rudeness. Kosi Wango said, very true. And, if people have also agreed with her. And then Shola said, toxicity is personal perception largely. Yes, I think that also comes into play. Amaka Donald Ibe said, mutual respect is very critical. Everything is neutral until you give it a meaning. Okay, so there's some really good feedback coming on our chats. Guys, keep it coming. Really very interesting views you're sharing there. And just like that last comment, which was probably the only thing I would say about a toxic environment, is that it is subjective. What is not toxic for a KC can be toxic for a Karachi. Yeah. It all depends on what because everyone, like, if you don't have like values, a set of values you live by, a purpose, a vision, an assignment that drives you, then any environment will fit you. But if you have for yourself a set purpose, there's something, you know, you're hitting. For example, if one of your things is, I'm going to raise a generation of youths, blah, 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 blah. And then, but you're working in a bank where you're even called into work in the weekends. Nobody's being mean to you. You know, nothing really bad is happening, but you know that it's robbing you of time to really feed into what is your purpose, your value, or your calling, or what you'd rather do, you know, elsewhere. Then that job is toxic. So I think there's also a sense of a little bit of subjectivity to it. Yeah. So thank you so much, ladies. Really well shared. And I'm so sorry we don't have time. The last question now, before I tell you the topic for next week, like I'm practically shaking on my chair because I'm so excited. Oh my goodness gracious mine. But before we get there, there was a very interesting voice note that did come in over the week. And the lady had horrific story to tell, a horrendous experience in her workplace. I can't even begin to transcribe because it was a bit lengthy. So I'll just give us a summary. And then if you do have something to share on this, please do go ahead. So she's worked in this particular organization for about 8 years or so. And then she keeps getting overlooked for promotions, hasn't received a raise in like 6 years. And other people who are less competent than she is, those people over her, and she has to coach those people what to do. And when she, you know, the one time that she got the one time she was bold enough to and she's really good at what she does. Need job security and all whatnot, but it hurts to see subordinates being made and you're still in the same
system.
Yeah, so is anybody, you know, what do we think about that?
So let me jump in. So this is about someone being sidestepped, and it happens a lot, you know. I think when we're discussing, you mentioned that when she had the opportunity to speak with like one of your guys to say what's going on, my line manager left. I thought I was ready for this position, and then I didn't get it. You're bringing someone else from outside the organization or someone who is my junior in another department, and the reason given to her was that she was emotional, you know. So it happens from time to time. And what I think about this particular matter, it could be a combination of reasons. Sometimes it might not be that she really is emotional. It might just be that she's a workaholic. She's one Jackie that does all the core work for that team. And there's the perception from leadership that if we promote this person to leadership, then there'll be a gap. Do you understand? There'll be a gap. There's also the politicking, of course, where, you know, she's been marked as a loyalist, someone that is very loyal, and even if she's accepted, she'll still stay, you know. So what I would say to this person who sent in the voice notes is you need to evolve, you need to reinvent yourself. And in doing that, you need to show that you're ready for leadership. It's possible that you do your work very well, but for leadership, it's not about the technical skills alone. There's some other leadership attributes that you need to see, that they need to see to say, okay, you are ready for leadership. Okay, so you need to evolve, you need to prepare yourself. You need to show those leadership skills, stakeholder management, I keep saying, you know, and all that. And if you do all this and it looks like they're still sidestepping you, maybe then I don't know, it might be time to make a decision, but there's stakeholder management, there's some maturity required for leadership, there are leadership things, skills required for leadership. And let me just summarize by saying that promotion comes to you when you've outgrown your current position. You need to burst out of where you are, and it's be so obvious that this person can't be kept here. She has to move up. And then in creating visibility, you know, you need to build your ranking outside the organization. You need to get to a point when your boss goes for a meeting and they're saying, oh, I know this lady that works in your team. How's she doing? She really, we had this association meeting the other day and she really spoke a lot of sense. That's a really serious asset. I'm even thinking of coming to poach her. So if on LinkedIn you're getting all the good likes and everything, and your profile is good, outside your organization, that also helps you for them to see that this person has grown beyond her position. So just a few things to help that person. I hope she can really think about it and think of a way to reinvent herself and see that it will be too obvious that she's too big for what she is, and then the promotion will come.
Awesome.
One way I've seen in the workplace that the leadership recognizes that you have those leadership skills. Train a successor. Because she said something about they are possibly afraid that she would leave a gap when she leaves the position where she's in. That's in the case where she's promoted. What I would say is that whenever you are seeking for promotion, you should bear in mind that there are gaps you would leave when you're being promoted, and you should be able to help the organization in filling out that, having a successor, for instance, that will take over the role. So that's one thing I want to just chip in based on what C said about the possible reason why she's not being promoted. So if you're working in a role, think about who can, take up your role if you leave it and you have to move to a higher role. So that might be something, she might need to explore about how she's grooming, other people to do what she's doing, so that there won't be a reason not to promote her because of a gap. So that, and then it will also help, show that she has leadership skills because she's empowering, she's building talent, she's empowering, and that's one thing leadership likes to see. So it might be something she would need to explore and look into, and then close that gap.
Okay, thank you. Casey, you are nodding very suspiciously.
I had a few questions for you, Kara. I wanted to know, at the point, it was breaking a little and I wasn't hearing you very well. At the point where someone was brought in, was there any form of communication for her? Was she spoken to?
No, she was not spoken to. There was no form of communication. No.
She had trained someone, because I hear, Ruthie talking about training a successor. And from your story, I heard she's trained about 2 people and they just keep jumping over her head. Whilst I'm grateful for what C has said about reinventing herself, I totally believe in it. I also think it's something everyone should do from time to time. It just makes you, get a new lease of life. You could cut your hair. Reinventing yourself may not even necessarily be going to take a new course or going to get a new certification. Many people are even tired of those things. It could just be cut your hair. It could be pick up a new hobby. It could be make a new friend. It could be take a vacation and you breathe well. But I must tell you that when you were reading out that question, it evoked some negative emotions, It evoked, and I was smiling suspiciously because I may almost sound like I'm ranting. But you see, respect to all of my HR friends, Ruth is one. Please, you people shouldn't come for my head. I'm not called a realist for nothing. But I think many times in the workplaces, multinationals have been able to solve some of these things. But you see, there are a lot of businesses out there where the HR professionals need to be more than stooges. Forgive me. I begged not to bring your hammer. You need to be more than just someone that was employed, to write down people's name and calculate people like data and statistics. I mean, how on earth would you talk to someone about a role and then right before her, you put someone else in that role and no form of communication goes on. After that time, you come, you repeat the same thing again. I mean, is she a stool? If she's not good enough, why not fire her? Why would you toy with someone's emotions because she came to work for you? We're talking about, displaying all manner of emotional intelligence. And I'm happy we also got to the part where we say people are different, right? I know we should be intelligent, but when someone is traumatized, how intelligent can that person be? I think many people, I'm not a HR professional. I love them. I respect what they do. But I think many of them should begin to move into roles where they are able to consult for business owners. Often business owners, people who grow to become business owners are sales professionals. They know nothing but the numbers. They know nothing but results. Very or near zero empathy. And you cannot be driving results with robots. Even when we fully move into the robot economy, you will still need to manage those robots. So why are you going to have someone with full blood running through her veins and you keep toppling people over her? I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. And beyond us saying that people should be intelligent at work, people should do this, people should be neutral, people should be flexible, I also think, and I also strongly believe that there should be organizations addressing the management of people along these lines, along the lines of conflict resolution, along the lines of, managing the emotions of your people well, to achieve the profitability that you want. I don't know if this lady is listening to me. Your story really got me in a funny point. And if you ask me, I would say submit your CV. Submit your CV. Any of our platforms, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Powder Room, Facebook, you could just chat or inbox or something. I really believe you should leave that place. I know all of these things about, trying to be great, trying to be, God willing, some of us have, experienced the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I tell you, there's a point toxicity gets to, and the best thing you can do is hit the door. And like I will always say, many times I will hear my friends say to me, leave when the ovation is loudest, leave when I am my own cheerleader. I believe everyone should. Because if you keep waiting for when people should cheer you, they may never want to. They may never wake up and cheer you. And I don't think there's any. I don't think there's
very important.
As loud as a beautiful offer letter with a fantastic paycheck. You receive it, you nod to yourself, you smile to yourself, you can set the time and begin to clap and begin to cheer. Ovation, eldest, because you already have an offer letter. And you're moving on.
Wow. I mean, what I I'm so happy we took this question and answer, because I mean, I think we're really digging deep now into things that people face in the offices, and I'm sure that if the lady is listening, she kind of like has an idea on what to do. Shola put a post up. She said, I worked in an organization where 3 of my subordinates were promoted into 3 of the roles I handled, but I trained them to succeed me. I find it as one of my personal success stories. So yeah, thank you, Shola. That's really amazing. Amaka said spot on at KC. Wow. So thank you so much for that, guys. I couldn't stop laughing. I particularly liked the word. Sage, what's that proverb about when nobody claps for the lizard? How do you say?
Which one? No lizard today. Forget lizard. If the person who is rejected. You can't reject yourself. You're still your greatest cheerleader. And every seed has an environment where they can thrive. If you go and plant apples in Lagos, it won't thrive. Or maybe in Jos, it might. So Casey's point was so spot on. You need to, sometimes we're in the wrong place, trying to grow in a soil that doesn't have the proper nutrients to nourish us, to allow our best come out, And if you're in that kind of place, Biko, kwara ngwongwo gị, tiba ya n'ime akpa, kechie ya, buru ya n'isi gị, gbafuo, bye-bye. They will hear your story tomorrow, you know? So knowing when to leave is so important.
Thank you so much, Sage. Oh my goodness gracious. Thank you very much to all the ladies. Tonight has been amazing. So next week's topic is exciting. We're talking about who is in the guest room.
Yeah.
Who is in the guest room? If you want to finish that poem, you know that's who is in the garden.
A little fine girl.
Excellent. So, I'm not gonna tell you guys more. You're not gonna hear more. Just hook up with us next week, 7 p.m. Same time on YouTube. Don't forget to click a like so that you'll get a notification when we do go live, and you will not miss the appointment in the powder room, where we touch up our faces and talk about things that are really, really key. So who is in the guest room coming to you next week? And is our custom, before we say goodbye, we're just gonna hear a final word from every single person, all the ladies in the powder room, starting from Ada the Sage. What's your sign-off word for us today?
My sign-off word is just the same proverb I said, Onya Adru, Ada Adru.
Thank you so much. I liked that, Ada, what you just said earlier. You said, just kwarangongogi. That means take your load, wrap it around. You were saying it so circumspectly. Then the last word you now said is bafwo. That I almost just fainted from where I was. I mean, just means sign off for today.
Whose name, please? Did you call me?
Casey, yes, I called you.
All right. So I would like to say that whilst the destination is very important, right? Don't focus just on the destination. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process so you can get to the destination well, right?
Yeah. Who's next?
Ruth, you can go on. I think I actually tripped up.
Okay, what I would say is don't be aloof in the workplace. You have to pay attention to things like power and influence, know where they are, where they lie, and be aware of them. Pay attention to rules, written and unwritten rules. Then also pay attention to the culture that you have come into, Be sure that it's something you align to. If you don't align to it, you have to be sure about it before you enter the organization. If you don't align to it, don't force yourself inside, toxic environments and stifle yourself. Live your best life, live a good life, live an enjoyable life, and have the best time you can ever, make for yourself. Thank you. So see.
Yeah, so 2 things. I just said it earlier, but let me repeat so they can enter. Mind in the beginning what matters in the end.
Yes.
Mind in the beginning what matters in the end. Mind today what will matter tomorrow. And it takes me to the preparation. Success is when preparation meets opportunity. So just be prepared. Take your eyes off the corner office and just focus on, be yourself, and the corner office will come.
Thank you very much, C strategist. Who's left? Is it Prof?
You.
All right, then. I think I'll just sign off with the final word. And I think that will be found in the book of 2 Timothy. Timothy was a young man of 16 to 19, and he had to work with older people. There was a lot of politics, and Paul shared a book full of advice. So if you're thinking of what to do, you might just want to go and have a really good read in 2 Timothy chapters, all the way from 1 all the way to the end. But there's one I just want to share with us very, very quickly, and that's in 2 Timothy chapter 2, from verse 15. And what it says is, Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needed not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So like I said, that book has got a lot for you, and this is just one of the things you might want to, avail yourself of. So do not forget what I said. Next week we're looking at who is in the guest room, and you wouldn't want to miss that. Trust me, you will not want to miss that. And we'll see you next week, same time, 7 p.m. Ladies, you can say bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hey, pretty lady, tell yourself that you'll never make. Hey, pretty lady, tell yourself that you'll never make.